We want to go to Anna Schecter of CBS News, who is in New York, and you've been following this information very closely. And what we just heard from the BCA, what additionally can you tell us right now?
Well, the fact that the suspect is still at large this many hours after police most recently saw him at 3:35 a.m., that's a long time. But what I also noted is they are probably looking at a lot of surveillance video where he pops up. If he was in Minneapolis City proper, we saw one image taken from a business's surveillance camera, but they probably have a lot more than just that. And likely have some sense of direction that he might have gone in, so they could be a little bit further ahead than we are aware of, but they're still asking the public for help. One thing former Minneapolis Police Chief Arredondo said earlier on your show, he was saying any little tip, it could be the tip that helps them find him. So it's really important to place that phone call. But certainly, the fact that so many hours have passed by, it also has given police the chance to get a full picture or a fuller picture from surveillance camera images of how he got from the home of the Hortmans to Minneapolis proper. Did he take a ride with somebody else, or did he walk or run himself? Did he take a bicycle? Like, these are questions that we'll probably get the answers to in the coming day as they piece together this timeline. But this is a very tough situation for investigators to be in, to still be needing to ask the public for help. But time and time again, it is these tips that come in from the public that actually do lead police to find the suspect. So it's really important that everybody pitch in and be on the lookout at this time.
How crucial are, say, the next 12 or 24 hours in an investigation like this? Because, as you mentioned, he could be across a much wider area than originally expected after being spotted in Minneapolis.
That's exactly right. I mean, those first 12 hours, which we have already now passed, were crucial to kind of contain it to a reasonable sized area. And now we are now several hours past that. With every passing hour, it becomes more and more difficult. Now, what law enforcement is doing is they are going to other counties. They might have like a surveillance video sharing system already in place. They're going to run that image that you saw through whatever facial recognition software that they have access to. It depends on whether the community has voted to allow it or not. But generally speaking, what they can do with a lot of these cameras is put that image of him that you saw taken today with the cowboy hat and try to run that through other systems to try to get a match and figure out exactly what county he has gone to. I will say that doesn't always work. In the case of Luigi Mangione, who shot the CEO of United Healthcare here in Manhattan, he was able to evade law enforcement for days because the facial recognition software didn't come up with a match for him. So it's not a perfect science, but law enforcement, I am sure, is probably trying to lean into whatever technology they have at their fingertips to help them locate him. And remember, you have surveillance footage at gas stations. You have surveillance cameras, license plate reader cameras as well, if he is, in fact, in another vehicle. So all of that technology police are going to be using to help them find him right now.
Anna, you mentioned the Luigi Mangione manhunt. It's something that you covered very closely. You remember he was wearing that mask, so that facial recognition software didn't quite work there. We have a much clearer picture here of Vance Boelter. And you remember, it was from the public. He was caught in a McDonald's. That was just a tip that came in.
That's exactly right. Somebody at McDonald's said, you know, that looks like the guy, there's something about him. They called 911, and local police in Altoona, Pennsylvania arrived at the scene and approached him, and because of the way that he was acting, he was very nervous. He had a backpack. There were certain things about him that led them to believe that he was in fact the suspect. They took him into custody, and they saw that the fake ID that he had on him, that New Jersey driver's license, that was the same license that the suspect had used to check into the Upper West Side hostel in Manhattan, where he stayed for the 10 days prior to carrying out the attack. So these are the kinds of clues that investigators hope, like the breadcrumbs that they hope that Vance Boelter will be leaving to help them find him. It's hundreds of agents at this time on the ground, but then you also have a team of technicians who are reviewing footage, and they're working in coordination with people on the ground. So this is a massive effort where federal, state, and local law enforcement are all having to work. It's kind of a logistical challenge as well, to have coordination between all these different agencies who are helping. But clearly, as you saw at that presser, they were very well organized. They had everything together in terms of who was going to speak and talk about what elements of the investigation. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that, Evans didn't want to discuss the security firm that the suspect worked at, but that he said that they are looking into that. But I think that is certainly presents a potential challenge for them if he does have experience with weapons, if he does have more experience, which, it's pretty clear from the fact that he was able to disguise that vehicle so well, disguise himself well enough to be confused as a real law enforcement official.
And Anna, also concerning that it would be easier for him to cover up any digital footprint that someone maybe that doesn't have a background in security wouldn't realize to cover.
That's right. That's right. And that's also of concern, particularly since it appears that he took some time to plan this out, to map out where the homes of these two lawmakers were. I'm curious to know if he had the addresses of other lawmakers or other people, including abortion rights advocates who were on that list that we can report might have been his other targets if he was planning to continue his attack and target others. So he was organized enough to have that list either written out or printed out. It does remain sort of a mystery why he had those seemingly handwritten pages in the vehicle where it was written out "No Kings" in reference to those protests that took place all across the country today. They didn't get into that at the press conference, but that sort of remains a mystery, actually. It's unclear exactly what his motive, and I really agree with what you were saying. We have to be really careful about assigning a specific motive. Sometimes these things are very complex, and it's not black and white all the time.
And we mentioned his experience with the security firm there, and that might make it so that he is better able to evade authorities. But it's hard now with all this facial recognition software that you were talking about to be on the run, much harder than it used to be. And I don't want to keep going back to the Mangione manhunt, but we had for 5 days there. It seemed like the weight of all law enforcement looking for this one person.
That's right. And to your point, it was actually the media attention and the fact that the story became a national story. Everybody had seen this in the headline. Everyone had seen this on the news. And that is what actually helped a resident, a Good Samaritan who was there at the McDonald's, decide to make that phone call to 911? Because if that individual hadn't made that phone call, he might have been on the run for longer. Generally speaking, though, these things tend to come to an end. But the fact that we are now so late in the day on Saturday, that makes me think, I mean, this could actually run into tomorrow, possibly several more days. We'll see. We really don't know. A lot of unknowns at this time.
Absolutely. All right. So we got Anna Schecter for us from CBS News in New York this morning following this, and we'll check back in with you in just a bit.